First
Thank
of
you.
all, congratulations on it. Anytime you finish a movie, it's always good, you know. Um, Tyler,
Yeah,
talk to me about getting this project together. Was it like herding cats?
yeah, it absolutely was. In fact, and I'm not kidding. That's a phrase that Dave Purdy, yeah, my partner at Red King, the producer of The Shade, likes to use herding
Hmm.
cats. And I'm being serious. Um, we conceived of the company, maybe if not the project specifically, in 2018 or 2019, and it took us quite a few years to get this thing off the ground. We did a couple of short films. We made a short film called The Shade, which at the time we called a proof of concept, but, but maybe wasn't, because it's different enough so that I don't know if the term applies. But we spent years, trying to get it off the ground. I think partially, well, I like to tell myself one of the reasons it took so long was obviously because we had originally planned on shooting in, the fall of 2020, which for I think reasons obvious to us all didn't end up happening. But I mean, yeah, sometimes it takes years. I can't tell you the number of, calls, emails I sent, number of times I heard, well, we'll get back to you maybe, or just like, no. It's yeah, we tried every avenue. And it's just, I guess, about persistence. It was for us. I can't speak for every independent filmmaker, but yeah, it was just a matter of, keep going back to the drawing board every time
Yeah.
you come upon a roadblock until you get your foot in the door.
Although it's a frustrating process, that time that you had, to revamp the scripts and look at everything over and over again probably helped you more than hurt you.
I think that's absolutely true. It might not feel that way in at the time. You can get frustrated. But suffering is good to some extent. There were 18 different versions of the script, I will say. So I was rewriting during that time. I think by the time we called a script the shooting script, all the colored revisions aside, I think we were on version 18. So yeah, absolutely, it does afford you time. Yeah, just extra time to make sure that everything you're doing when you do get to do it is, just so.
Chris, talk to me about Ryan and putting on his skin.
Oh, I mean, from the beginning when I got a chance to look at the script, uh, I was really kind of deeply digging Ryan's character, not just for Ryan, but what he kind of symbolizes and all the weight that he carries on his shoulders, and it kind of reflects upon what a lot of people have to go through and carry every day. Uh, but yeah, his specific trauma really kind of drew me in, and Tyler giving me an opportunity to present them to the world. I was very excited. Um, Besides
Yeah,
that, I reread. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
the character that you play though allows himself, to use some humor. It's a brilliantly written character.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, kind of dark humor is my forte. I'm really into it, and being able to play around with it. Obviously, I didn't get to ad lib too much because I'm not too sharp on my feet in those kind of circumstances. But with a very well written script, it becomes very organic too.
Yeah, it does. Tyler, talk to me about your cast too, because you really lucked out.
I couldn't agree more. I'm so proud of the cast, of their performances. Chris's in particular, obviously, he is, the film is basically on his shoulders. He's in every scene other than the cold open, right? So, you know, um, that's no easy feat. I applaud you, Chris. Never complained once. But yeah, I mean, the cast was amazing. We had an amazing pair of casting directors, Lena Todd and Byron Bean, who were fantastic. They really, really helped me through the process because I had never done it on a scale like this before. It was interesting. I'll use that word. It's interesting. I think one of the things I didn't really realize was that, you can start to second guess yourself through a number of auditions and like, am I a terrible writer or something? Until you see someone who understands the character. And then you're like, oh no, this is what I needed. This is what I wanted. And I didn't even necessarily know I wanted it. And when you have that feeling, when you see someone read, you know that that's someone you can probably move forward into callbacks or chemistry reads or whatever. And I found myself as auditions and they were sending me tapes. And as that went on, I was seeing that more and more for a lot of these characters, except for one, and that was Ryan Beckman. And I've talked about this before, but we went through, I I don't even know how many taped auditions, how many rounds of callbacks, all kinds of things. And, at the end of the day, I said, look, you guys are going to hate me, Selena and Byron. I said, but we don't have Ryan. There's a lot of unbelievably talented actors out there that are, showing me stuff I like, but there's something missing, and I was at the time not necessarily really able to put my finger on what exactly it was. I think the day after I told them that, Byron called me and said, "Oh, I have an idea. I have a really good idea. You know, he's a real big shot. He doesn't do auditioning or reading for anybody, but I think I might be able to get. Yeah, he didn't say that at all. He said, "It's Chris Galust. I think he really embodies some of the stuff you're talking about." And I think the next morning they got on with Chris, and they were like, "You got to see this guy. He's the guy." And I think so. Chris read for the casting directors in the morning, got back on with me in the afternoon, and I was like, "Yep, you're absolutely right. That's him." I didn't tell him that during the audition, but we were all very excited. We were like throwing each other Zoom high fives afterwards. It was fantastic. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Chris, as you know, we're in the pumpkin spice season, and of course, Halloween audiences are out there. What do you think people are going to take away from watching the film?
I can't say. I think that's the magic of filmmaking is, you believe in a project, you create something special, and then how the audience perceive it, it's a whole other take to it. My personal opinion, I feel like we did a very, very good job, and I'm hoping that the public, the audience, just love it as much as I did. And I'm trying not to be biased because it's a project I worked for and I believe in, but I feel like it really was something special. So,
Tyler, same question. What do you think audiences will experience when they see the film?
I'm hesitant to answer that in a way that's a whole lot different than how Chris answered it. Because I do think that you spend all this time making something. I know what it means to me. I know, why I wanted to tell this story about these characters, and I hope that people have an experience like the one I envisioned at the outset of, making the film. But if they don't and they experience something different, but it's meaningful for them, all I really want is for it to be an experience. And I guess if I was going to be specific, I want it to feel like a very sort of visceral, honest, realistic experience. Whereas, a lot of other horror films, a lot of other genre films, you can have these very sort of thrilling, exciting, they're all sort of tailored to the audience experience in terms of like heart rate and, startle and all that stuff. But I really wanted to give them a more genuine human experience, under the genre umbrella. So I suppose that's about as specific as I want to get.
What a terrific treat. And like I said, don't worry. My audience, see this film. It's, even though it's maybe on the low budget side, that doesn't make any difference. It's brilliantly directed. So I appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Tony. Pleasure.
You guys take care. Bye bye.